It was a very hard decision on staying in Savage or joining Apeks because I left Savage when we were at our peak. Like playing in that way is not gonna feel like you're playing in a team the same way as you would feel if you play in a team where your goal is to become like rank 1.
Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to another interview. Today, I'm going to be joined by Chawzy of Apeks. I have just mentioned it, but for the sake of the people, I'll mention again. Thank you very much for coming on and giving us some of your time. I know you've been very, very busy. We'll get into that, of course. But yeah, cheers for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So, I was thinking we kind of, kick things off. I think sticking to the Apeks roster for me, obviously, you had some time in Savage, Galaxy Racer beforehand. Try and keep them current on the interviews and whatnot. I think certainly, an interesting story behind yourself that we'll get into a little bit. Very, 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 very young player, right? That's been playing in and around this level for a little while now. But I just wanted to, get a very general, very broad, very open question with how you feel things have been going thus far since this, full 5-man Apeks came together at the start of this year.
Sorry, I don't fully understand the question.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I just, wanted to get your kind of general thoughts with how you feel the team's been performing. Obviously you've got a few wins recently and whatnot, and on LAN, which we'll kind of get into and everything. But yeah, how do you feel from Chawzyy's perspective? How do you think things are going on like a realistic level?
Yeah. It was a very hard decision on staying in Savage or joining Apeks because I left Savage when we were at our peak. But I'm very I'm very happy that I made this decision to join Apeks because I'm very happy with the organization and the players, and I think everything is really good here. And we are working very hard, and this is my dream. This is what I want, like to play CS:GO and give 100%. And that's something I can do with Apex.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I say, I think things have been going quite well. You sort of burst onto the scene in January as a squad, right? And a few kind of well-known names, Jacobs, Stico, coming back into the fold after being in some weird places at the end of last year. I don't know. I feel like your first month was pretty effective, right? Was just sort of looking back at the results and whatnot, and you've just won this LAN, right, and everything, but there has maybe been a bit of a challenge in the middle where, a few of your Pinnacle Cups, you like come up against Heroic and an Ents and things like that in the Blast qualifier and everything. So how do you kind of deal with some of those more challenging games where, you maybe have to be realistic with yourself in the sense that you're coming in as an underdog, but also confident enough, that you're going to get the victory and that kind of thing. And, so how do you deal with those tougher matchups, as it were?
Yeah, we're just trying our best all the time. And I guess like Heroic, it was the best team in that tournament, and we got them in the quarterfinals pretty early. So I would say it's like kind of unlucky when we want to go as far as possible, but still, I don't think there is anything to complain about. We just have to see it at the bright side. Like we get to actually play against them and learn things from them. So I think that will just make us stronger in the end. And it was pretty tough against Ens as well, since if we would have won that game, we would have qualified to the next stage of Blast. I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but we also played them in the group stage earlier. I can't remember if it was the same tournament. There are lots of tournaments, and then we actually won against them. So it was pretty hard or sad to lose against them in the final, since we already had won against them. But I think it's pretty hard to. And there are often like uh, you have to like win almost every game. It feels like to actually qualify somewhere. Like
Mhm.
even if you come second place or to the semifinals, you don't really qualify for something new. You're still stuck in the same tournaments. So I guess that's a barrier that we have to break, and I'm sure it will happen someday.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a tough one. I think off the top of my head, it was like the qualifier for the blast event that's then also a qualifier for the showdown and everything, right? So it gets a little bit confusing for sure. But yeah, I think it's a tough time in games like that, that you've kind of proven yourself, and um the final hurdle, to use the cliche, is often the hardest, I suppose. So I think the area that I kind of wanted to approach is, obviously, as a very young player, only 17 years old, how do you deal with those harder games, and sort of overcome and learn from, because I think in the past, when maybe esports was a little bit younger, and we even had people like Simple, who doesn't have the best history, if you go digging into games like that, where he might have turned around and blamed the team, or he might have turned around and gotten angry at someone in particular, or whatever. But I think now we've started to mature a little bit, right? So how do you walk away from a couple of those games that can be kind of tough, and keep a cool head, as it were?
Yeah, so through my like 7 years of playing, uh, it is it was for sure harder in the beginning because I was as competitive then as I am now. Like when I used to play Face It Pugs, then winning Elo was like the whole world to me.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to win all the time, and when I didn't, then I would get really sad, of course, and angry. But it's something I have learned throughout my time of playing, that it's easier and easier to lose for every time you lose, because I learn to forget it faster, and losing important matches now, of course, it sucks, but I control it very well, and I think it's important, uh, because keeping focus all the time and keeping everything professional, and keep improving is gonna be way easier if you can handle all your feelings.
Mm. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, I think this question kind of answers itself, but I would assume that from a very young age and from a very young cycle of playing the game, did you want to go pro? I would imagine.
Yeah, I think after 2 years, when I turned 11 and I hit global elite and matchmaking, then I think I started to think that, okay, I'm probably somewhat good at this game. I should give it a shot, and it was fun, so I just kept playing it.
Mm. And sort of on the Face It Pug side of thing, again, I'm not 100% sure how old you were when you start playing those, but would you say that that whole system's actually kind of helped you out with, indeed, just dealing with the grind and dealing with the tough losses and things like that? Obviously, not quite on the same scale, but it's nice, I suppose, because it moves up a bit more for you, right? Is that along the right lines of thinking?
Yeah, it was a pretty long road and Face It as well. I thought it would be faster. Like I thought I would hit level 10 and hit high elo faster than I actually did. Like I didn't
Mm.
realize how hard it actually was. So when I hit level 10 and Face It, I was probably around 12. Then I started playing Swedish Pro League. So by then, when I kept playing that, and then I started playing local tournaments, and I got to know Swedish people. So that's where it started, and I think it was a very I think Swedish Pro League helped me a lot to be able to play all the tournaments in the beginning and uh, show myself to others.
Yeah, and on that kind of point, right? I guess you're still kind of within the range, but maybe you started like playing and focusing on a career and whatnot just a little bit before. But how do you feel, about the Academy League? Did you have any maybe offers around, while you were playing with Galaxy Racer and Savage and that kind of thing, and sending feelers out there to maybe try and move teams and things? Did any Academy teams approach you at all, or is that not really an avenue that you've explored?
When I joined Galaxy Racer, I had offer from Young Ninjas as well, but I declined that and I went with Galaxy Racer instead.
Okay.
And I think that was the right choice.
Okay. Is there anything more there? Why not the academy system? Did you not? Did you want to get in as many kind of tournaments as you can and play it that way rather than playing in like a bit more of a sheltered system that was, maybe around that time I would imagine a bit in the rumor mill, not necessarily the full We Play Academy League, but it was definitely being talked about. So talk to me why you made that decision to stay away from Young Ninjas.
I don't really want to play in an academy team in general. I don't really like that idea because I don't see it as the same way of playing in a normal team. Like in an academy team, I feel like it's more about the individual process of showing that you are the best player to eventually get promoted to the
Yeah.
main team. And I don't think that it's gonna like playing in that way is not gonna feel like you're playing in a team the same way as you would feel if you play in a team where your goal is to become like rank 1 with the team instead of becoming rank 1 as an individual player. And that's not why I'm playing this game, to become the best player. I want to be the best player in the best team, and I want to make that road, if you can say it that way.
Yeah.
And then also playing for an academy team, you don't get to play all the tournaments since they're going to be occupied by the main team, and that's also something I don't really like.
Mm. No, that's fair. That's kind of an interesting angle because I had Fozzy on a little while ago and spoke to him about it, and obviously he went through Young Ninjas and things like that, so he's got the different perspective, right? And where it's a bit of a I've always kind of felt that as well, where it's a little bit of a weird limbo you find yourself in, that if you can indeed really show off, then yeah, you might get picked up. But we're also in a weird position of, is that actually going to work out? Like Munacy's the big experiment at the moment, and the eye test, as they say, looks pretty good, but you never know. They might run into a big hurdle somewhere along the line that the sort of tier 2 experience, as it were, that he's not really cultivated might indeed help out a bit more. And in your case, you're playing with some pretty experienced guys that have top level experience and whatnot. So yeah, I think that's definitely a solid angle that I think players could be pretty concerned with, for sure, that you may be focusing on the wrong things when it comes to the academy system. But I wanted to move in a little bit. I suppose it segues quite nicely into talking about some of those players that are on your squad, the likes of Jacob, Massilian, Sticko, very, very experienced players, right? And even Nork had a little bit of a taste, as it were, and has obviously been around the tier 2 scene for a long time. So talk to me about what you have learned from these guys? Maybe as a collective, maybe if you want to pick out an individual that has given you a little bit more advice or whatever. But I'm interested to hear, because the Apeks, it's kind of a project, isn't it? Right? Before, I think it was trying to sort of stick to Norwegian roots, and then sort of Dennis came in and whatnot, and they were trudging along. This is clearly a tone shift, right? When you guys came together. So talk me through the learnings of the experienced guys on the squad.
Yeah, so there are of course lots of things I've learned, and some of them are like, I don't know the exact word, but some of them, some of the things I've learned are like already in me, so uh, I can't really think of everything, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, one thing that I have been working a lot on, and which I realized how important it actually was, which I didn't really know before, is the communication, and always trying to be assertive and always say things with a strong opinion to the other people. Uh, and I think that's very important in CS.
Mm. And maybe not necessarily like missing from your other teams, but sort of something that you can never do enough of. Is that the like energy that I'm kind of getting from what you're saying?
Wait, can you say that again?
Just sort of that, like, communication is something that you can never stop improving. Is that maybe
Yeah,
how you feel? Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Like, it's even though you even though you pretty much perfect your communication, it's always gonna be an issue in your team at some point or another, because it's pretty much based on the energy levels in the team. If you have a high energy in the team, then it's obviously very easy to communicate and easy to not miss out on things, on important information. And it's obviously easier when you win, because when you win, that brings that kind of energy, and when you lose, that's often when you lose it. So I think, like, it's usually, or I think the most important thing is the mood in the team. Like, the mood is has a lot of synergy with the communication. I think they both goes they both go hand in hand with each other.
Mm. Yeah. Would you say maybe that's something that, as well, learning from the losses and whatnot, the sort of more experienced players that you're playing with in this squad, they're a little better at that maybe than some of the other guys that you played with in the past? Or is it, you seem to have a pretty good head for it already? Is it a personal thing maybe, or what?
Of the mood.
Yeah, like, so when you have we talked about these difficult losses earlier, is someone like Jacob maybe coming forward and you know yeah, resetting the mood within the team, keeping you cool, whether that's within a series, or I'm just curious as to whether it is better here than it has been in the past, in that sense.
Yeah. In Savage, we had really good chemistry in the end. So from what I remember, I or we still had a very positive mindset, even though we would lose maps. Uh, and of course, if when we lose a match, it's obviously gonna be it's gonna be a little bit down for the rest of the day, and it's the same here when we lose an important match, and even I am even I am like depressed for the rest of the day, but then it's
Hmm.
fine. But I think we're very good at trying to learn from our losses, and it's usually the next day we get back to things, and we start working again and resetting, and start having fun. And we have we have had some issues with the mood in the team, because it has been getting a bit negative sometimes,
Mm.
or like a bit unnecessary negative. So we have been working on that. So it's it's way better now, and it's I think it's gonna make us even better, and everything is just it feels like everything just revolves around having a good mood.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, moving on, and to some pretty good news. You guys obviously won the Tip Sport LAN, as it were, and against Sinners, right? It's a little bit of a home cup for them, I think, in the Czech Republic, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that kind of aspect that plays in against a team like that, and of course they're a pretty solid team within their own right. How was playing on LAN for you, right? Because I think obviously you talked about, local LANs and whatnot, but tournament-wise, I feel like most of what you've done has been online, right, due to the world circumstance for the past couple of years. So how was it moving on to LAN? Do you think it, really improved yourself and the team, or, are you still getting used to it, or, what's the feeling?
Um, of course, it was very fun, and it was a nice experience, but I felt like I was pretty used to it the first match. It wasn't a big difference, I think, and playing in front of the crowd was I wasn't nervous at all, actually. It was pretty fun, and it's even more fun when you win. I think I have the advantage as well. Like, I don't play with glasses when I'm playing, so when I try to look at the crowd, I can't even see them, so I don't even know that they're there.
There you go, brilliant, brilliant. I just fact check myself as well. It was in Slovakia, in fact. So I just want to
Yeah.
make sure, so I'm not getting any, angry comments or whatever. But I think definitely talk to a few other pro players and whatnot. And obviously the pickup of LAN is going to be there. But I think certainly for players like yourself, it's kind of about acclimatizing, and getting used to that environment. And yeah, I guess if you say, you're getting used to it pretty easily, pretty quickly, that's often a good sign. So, I think for me, a squad like yours, surely a couple of the players are still a little uncomfortable playing online and would prefer to be online. Am I right in suggesting that? Would you say?
In my team,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jake prefers to be on LAN.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure about, or yeah, of course, Asilian also loves LAN. He
Fair
always
enough.
wants to play on LAN.
Yeah, yeah. So I
But
feel
it's
like you.
like
Yeah, go
when
ahead.
we play online, we're onliners. When we play on LAN, we're LANers.
Okay, fair enough. Respect, respect. No, I love it. But yeah, I think it'll be good. Hopefully, we get a few more out because I feel like for sure, your team's going to be a pretty solid one when it comes to playing online and whatnot. I've asked this of a fair few of the players that I've had on and whatnot, and I think we'll kind of end with this sort of question. Maybe let you have a little bit of a vent with it, but obviously we've touched on, and it comes up. The packed out schedule. Is that something that you dislike? Would you prefer to pick and choose tournaments, or are you happy to span the games out, get more and more official experience?
Um, uh, I trust my organization pretty much, and they pick out all our tournaments we're gonna play, and they are the ones making up the schedule for us. And of course, it's a lot, but I think that's what we need if we wanna win everything. And I don't I don't want to play all the tournaments either, because that would be way too much. And
Mm-hmm.
I think practice is very important, because when you play too much, you're at some point gonna get anti-stratted so easily. So you have to keep a balance between practice and officials, so you have time to always come up with new stuff uh, for the next officials, uh, so you can be prepared.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. It's I don't know. Do you not like worry it doesn't bother you playing all these tournaments or whatever? Like, do you? I guess it sounds like kind of answering this question a little bit, but are you happy with the balance that you have, or do you want a little bit more or a little bit less?
I think it's pretty good, but I would not want to have more for now, at least.
Mm.
If I a little bit less would be nice, I think, and I think everyone else agrees on that as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But you definitely have, and you're playing the ratings game and everything on HLTV. It's like as soon as you maybe start to dip out from a tournament, one of your sort of competitor teams around the top 30 and all that kind of stuff will probably start spamming them out, and then all of a sudden it's all a bit weird, and you want to get the invites to future tournaments and stuff like that as well. So that's a fair aspect. So yeah, it's definitely a bit of a weird one, but hopefully we've got a few more lands creeping back into the mid level. So hopefully that'll even things out a little bit, So, but we'll see.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to do us, Chawzy. Thank you very much once again for coming on. Been a pleasure. And yeah, cheers for your time.
Thank you.